Good morning, witches, and welcome to this daily divination ceremony brought to you by the Unbound Witches of Bright and Dark Center. This is a space for you to be able to explore your relationship with divination. Your relationship with your divination and your intuition is centered in this process, so the way we go about this is a little bit different than what you're accustomed to. I have a very nervous visitor at my door. That's Miss Daisy. Anyway, how are you doing this morning? Oh, I always forget to introduce myself. My name is Jen Marie. I am an initiated high priestess and sorceress. I wrote the Grimoire of the Ungovernable and founded an international resource center for neurodivergent witches. I am not the leader of Bright and Dark. I am not the leader of the Unbound. I am more like a mascot. The way that we operate is as a matriarchy. So the decisions are made by a group, not just me. That sounds like a lot of work. I wouldn't want to do that. I would suck at at all that. Anyway. Aw, Anna. Okay. So Anna said that yesterday they spent the entire afternoon reading my grimoire from start to finish. Uh, it's been an interesting process. Writing the grimoire was the first time that I've ever had anything published or anything like shared like this. And I've never considered myself a writer. I can figure just about anything out. That whole like clinically diagnosed autistic savant thing. I could figure just about everything out. But I kept saying, I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. And it's because I don't know the rules of writing well, and I just write. I just do it. And so the whole support team, all of the Unbound are like, "Jen, when are you gonna stop lying to yourself?" So I appreciate you saying that. I tend to wane poetic because my kind of writing, I write spells and rituals, I write ceremonial work. And so and the grimoire is a book about ceremonial work. So it transferred really well, I guess. I'm thinking I'm getting really great, like, feedback about it. The grimoire is available through the foundations course. No, the grimoire is available through the website. You just have to go to the website and it's only available digitally right now until we are able to find a way to get it printed by a company or business that aligns with our ethics and morals. Until then, It's available digitally, and all of the proceeds from the sales of the grimoire go directly to the operations of an international resource center for neurodivergent witches. We offer so much free uh, content and experiences and. So, in fact, starting in June, every Wednesday in the courtyard, so in the app space, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be reading from my grimoire for an hour. And then an hour after that is just like open hangout space where you can ask any questions that you want and we can just like get to know each other. So that would be really cool if you wanted to just show up, and that's free and open to the public and everything, so you don't have to purchase the grimoire to get access to the information. Purchasing the grimoire is supporting the work that we're doing. Does that make sense? And if at any time you're curious about the programs and things that we have through the app space at community.brightendark.org, you can schedule a quick 15-minute appointment with our professor of myth and magic, Silver. Silver, if you think of it like Silver being kind of like a guidance counselor that can get you connected to the resources that are most aligned with what you're wanting for your practice. So you're able to talk to them and they can let you know what's available to support you in whatever it is that you're trying to do with your practice. So, yeah, and it's free. We don't want your money, we want you. I can't say that enough. Yes, there are things that we charge for, but the proceeds go either directly to a boss witch in some way so that we can support our community, or it goes directly to the basic operations of the resource center. So, yeah. And we are very accustomed to international witches. Very, very accustomed to international witches. There's a lot more of us than you have been made to believe, and we are an international community. So, and we've been doing this for years and years and years and years. Okay, are we ready? Let's just do this divination ceremony. I have so much going on. I could sit here and just every day and rattle off all of the things that we have going on in this community. It's my job to see the whole picture and uh, sort out expansion. Like, how can we do this better? Uh, Again, clinically diagnosed autistic savant, and this is my like special interest. And so there's always so much going on, and the more witches get involved, the more starts happening because they have callings as well. And we support them in pursuing their path and their calling. That's what we do. So it's a lot. And then the fact that I live at essentially the temple, the sanctuary for this international coven. It is an 80-acre, 200-year-old homestead in rural New England. And so there's all the homestead things that are going on. And we do immersions every new moon. So it's an opportunity for members of the coven to come out and explore their magical practice in a specific way, because every month we're doing something different because it's in alignment with the seasons. So, and we do a big new moon ritual. And the way that our coven does new moon rituals, it's an embodied uh, ritual rave. It's a dance, and it's kind of like witchy Zumba. And we have a 15,000 square foot barn. It's an old dairy barn that we dance in that has speakers, and we'll have lights and everything like that. And so that's happening every month, and they're here for a minimum of 4 days. So I could literally just talk for an hour, and we've been trying to figure out a way to share all of this information, to share what we actually have going on. There's so much that we are involved in and so many things that we are building, resources that we're creating, that you guys have no idea about because the process of sharing that information is it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And even we are starting to have in-person community meetings. We're starting in one place and it's going to be everywhere. We want to start connecting with uh, boss witches that have community spaces where we can host. Um, it's called SAS. It's a spirituality and support symposium. It's one of the meetings that we do virtually, and we're wanting to make those available locally so that witches can come and connect in that way locally. So that's going to start in the next year. And the witches that are hosting those are specially trained to support neurodivergent witches in exploring their magical practice. And when I say specially trained, I mean a minimum of 3.5 years of embodied and under mentorship for 3.5 years to be able to do this. So, yeah. Okay. It feels like I've been talking for a lot longer than 10 minutes. Let's get into it. But first, let's hydrate because, yeah, in-person SAS. And SAS is, again, a a a way of community connection that is matriarchal. You don't have someone preaching at you, trying to tell you what to do with your life. You have a community coming together to share information and to talk and to connect. And so the way that we do it is very specific. And once you go SAS, you never go back. Like to not, you never go back to not going to SAS. That was a terrible. Okay. I've already been up since like 5 o'clock in the morning. I've already shoveled half a truckload of dirt. So, yeah. Yeah, we started a twilight SAS. So we have morning SAS, and then we have another meeting that's in the twilight. Because we're an international community, we have to. I'm looking forward to more witches being called to take the path of the unbound, which is how you get to where you can host local SASs. You get that training that includes a year of counter culting mentorship. So, uh, so that we can have these in-person SASs all over the world. But we need witches that feel called to do this training and are ready to invest in themselves and in the community. So, was that an orb or dust? This is weird, Brooke. It could be either or. This has a very active 200-year-old farmhouse. And this is one of the original bedrooms. So it is very active. And you should know that before coming here, Anna. That could be another thing, just talking about all the stuff that happens here at Weird Brook. It's a lot. All right, let's do this. I humbly invite all that is fire within this system to witness this working. And if alignment is found, may you choose to bless this flow. I humbly invite all that is air within this system to witness this working. And if alignment is found, may you choose to bless this flow. I humbly invite all that is earth within this system to witness this working. And if alignment is found, may you choose to bless this flow. I humbly invite all that is water within this system to witness this working. And if alignment is found, may you choose to bless this flow. I beckon to this system. May we now align as one, for my cousins are the elements, and so the moon and sun. I call to those who love me. You are welcome in this space, for our nature is united, sharing magic, life, and grace. All right. Now we make a declaration of intention. I choose now, in this moment, to align with my whole self, to pull the book that tells my story from its place upon the shelf. I enter now this circle made of trust and hope and power, and I show up from my practice in this place and at this hour. because I am home. So let's, it is Sunday. It is Sunday. Yes. And this reading doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is influenced by the days before, the days to come. So we need to keep in consideration when we're doing this reading what we need to take into consideration the data that we already have. Okay. Just as important as the information that we're getting today. And if you are new here, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life, but documenting your card pulls, the cards that we pull, and your interpretation of those cards, and dating your shit, your future self will thank you for that information. It's data, it's information about the cycles of your life, it's information about the unfolding of your life, the things that you think about, and the things that you find important. As neurodivergent practitioners, we have 100 tabs open in our minds, like all the time. And getting the information out so that you can engage with it in a different way is going to help you process it. It's going to help you embody that. If you're looking to repair your relationship with your practice, doing something like that, turn your practice into a science experiment. Because you are fascinating. You are absolutely fascinating. Yesterday was emotional for you. We joke around that one of my superpowers is making people cry. Uh, but it's funny because it's true. And that's why there's so much emotional support as well. Like, I get it, I know. But there's things we need to talk about. And so, yeah, thank you for trusting me in the way that you do. And it looks like Beastie has joined our reading. Beastie is that black cat that's helping himself to Baxter's breakfast. Okay. So, remember, the question that we're asking is, where does our attention need to be today in order to bring the most expansion in our relationship with our life and our practice? And how are we getting in our own way with this? Top of the deck represents the question. Bottom of the deck represents what we're in resistance to or in denial of that is blocking our path, blocking us. How are we getting in our own way? The 7 of Cups upright. So this is the card we pulled. I'm going to read directly from the card so that I'm not influencing your initial interpretation of this, okay? This is the Tarotorial deck by Raven and Rogue. So, just so you know what interpretations I'm reading, Pamela, the writer, creator of the deck, wrote the interpretation. Pay attention to your imagination in both the real world and in your dreams. Take action to ensure that your dreams become reality. Don't sit idle and expect things to manifest on their own. Evaluate options closely and wisely before making decisions to ensure the best outcome. I'm going to read that again. Pay attention to your imagination in both the real world and in your dreams. Take action to ensure that your dreams become reality. Don't sit idle and expect things to manifest on their own. Evaluate options closely and wisely before making decisions to ensure the best outcome. And now, the reverse of this, because it's about the whole card, and I'm going to read it through twice. You may be chasing an unattainable fantasy. It's time to face reality. Ground yourself in the real world and focus on the goals and intentions that will get you where you need to be. Alternatively, the smoke may be finally clearing and you could be seeing things for what they are. Pay close attention. And again, you may be chasing an unattainable fantasy. It's time to face reality. Ground yourself in the real world and focus on the goals and intentions that will get you where you need to be. Alternatively, the smoke may finally be clearing and you could be seeing things for what they are. Pay close attention. What does that mean to you? What does that feel like? What's the first thing that comes up for you as I was reading that? And it could be that more came up for you in the reverse than in the upright, and that's okay. I'm letting you brew on this before I influence you with what I'm getting. Brewing. Brew. Can I influence you now? Reality is not as fixed as you have been made to believe. Okay? When working and manifesting what you want, it's so important for you to remember that. You were made to believe in a fixed reality because that reality is siphoning from you in some way. Okay? This forced singular perspective is a product of your indoctrination. It is not, um, it's only as real as you allow it to be. Okay? Reality is not as fixed as you have been made to believe. Okay. That being said, when I say to you, you need to get your head out of the clouds and face reality and start engaging in the real world. What is the real world for you? When I say get your head out of the clouds, are you thinking that I'm referring to you need to abandon your magical practice and your pursuit of connection and you need to go get a 9 to 5 and uh, get into bondage with a mortgage and is earning money the real world? Is that the real world? I mean, if that's the real world for you, then, like, I wish you the best. That's not the real world for me. That is not the real world, and in fact, the more vehemently I pursued my relationship with magic and my relationship with community, the more making money made no sense at all. The big cappy pappy is incredibly restrictive. You are, like, bound up, okay? Is the kind of the freedom of the world that I live in, my reality is almost offensive to those that are bound, okay? What is your reality? What reality do you want to live as the big happy pappy is reality, or do you wanna come to my reality? Do you wanna share do you want a world build with me? Because we can. We're doing it. This isn't, uh, me living in a fantasy land, a delusional fantasy land all by myself. This is me actually engaging with the real world, not some social agreement, okay? The real world, my hands are in the dirt, right? I grow the food that I eat and feed my community, right? What is the real world to you? Is it only getting your food from a grocery store made by people that don't care about you, made by companies that benefit from, uh, feeding you toxic things, right? Is that the world you wanna live in? Okay, so 7 of Cups. This is an opportunity for you to define what is real for you. What is the real world? And start prioritizing that, whatever that is, okay? What is the real world for you? What we're doing at Weirdbrook, one of the many facets is to show you, like, I can tell you until I'm blue in the face that, the big cappy pappy is a social agreement, and you don't have to engage with that if you don't want to, and there's this whole other way of living, and all these witches are, like, doing this. We needed a place to show you, to be like, "Yeah, see, 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 this is what's possible. This can be your real world." So, mhm. It's growing too many cucumbers and swapping them for peaches. Absolutely. Yes, exactly. Alright, so now we gotta look at what we're in resistance to or in denial of that is blocking our how are we getting in our own way? Helvy says, "I'm at the point that I will bend the Cappy Pappy to suit my needs, and I have done it pretty well this far." There's a lot of witches that have. You're right. And it's us working together that makes it work. Those that can navigate the big Cappy Pappy need somewhere to go to be restored because engaging in that dynamic is extractive. It extracts from you and everything. Its nature is extractive. So coming to a place where you can restore and then go out and do it again, that's the other another facet of what we're doing here as well. Mhm. And we all benefit from it. We all benefit when we're all functioning optimally. Okay. 9 of Cups upright. So I'm trying not to influence you with my interpretation. 9 of Cups upright, okay? Here it is. I'm going to read the prompt that's on the card without influencing you. Remember that this is what you're in resistance to or in denial of that's making it to where you're confused about your reality. Okay. You've struggled finding purpose and comfort after a loss. This journey has been long and arduous, but you've finally reached a point where you're feeling joy again. Profound happiness is in your future. Now is a great time to chase any dreams you've had. I'm going to read it again. You've struggled with finding purpose and comfort after a loss. This journey has been long and arduous, but you finally reached a point where you're feeling joy again. Profound happiness is in your future. Now is a great time to chase any dreams you've had. And reversed, you may have gotten something you've always wanted and it just wasn't what you expected. Maybe you're struggling to get somewhere and you're not making any progress. Your self-esteem has taken a hit and your desires are a never-ending black hole. Maybe you need to focus on quality over quantity. This is the 9 of Cups upright. You may have gotten something you've always wanted, and it just wasn't what you expected. Maybe you're struggling to get somewhere and you're not making any progress. Your self-esteem has taken a hit and your desires are a never-ending black hole. Maybe you need to focus on quality over quantity. Okay. So brew on that. What does that mean to you? What's the first thing that comes up for you when I read that? Did you get the 9 of Cups too, Heather? Or are you telling our mod god? Okay, so I'm going to influence you now. Brace yourselves. I'm fully aware that I repeat this phrase incessantly, and it's usually one of the first things I say to people, especially like people I even people I don't even know, right? Say it all the time. And it's because it's so important for you to have this information, to know this. And it's something that we don't ask ourselves. In fact, we were conditioned and indoctrinated to not ask ourselves this question. We're taught that it's selfish and it's wrong. Okay. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? There's a reason that this kind of question comes up. We have this in foundations. Foundations is the initiation process into our coven, but it's also a foundation for an expansive magical practice. It is a deconstruction, decolonization, building emotional intelligence and communication. It's all the skills that you're going to need in order to, again, remember who you are through your indoctrination. Anywho, one of the questions, we spend a whole month on this question alone and diving into all the reasons why we all struggle with this. What do you want? What do you really want? And this is something that changes every month. What you want could be a little bit different. It's about dialing it in, because you have where you are, and then you have the reality that you're wanting to engage with. And the way that you're currently engaging with reality isn't in alignment. It doesn't allow for this. So you start to identify the stuff that isn't in alignment. But in order to do that, you have to know what you want. And this can be something like, Oh, yeah. Foundation summer class is starting in June. We do take witches through foundations in classes, in groups, so that you can start for lots of different reasons. But the summer class, if you are interested in joining a coven that requires decolonization and deconstruction prior to initiation, if you are looking for a process that identifies the most common ways that neurodivergent magical practitioners were bound through their indoctrination, if you're wanting to go through that process, foundations is what you want to do. It is no joke. It is a challenging process, and the first 3 months are the most difficult. In fact, there's a high dropout rate because they don't, witches don't expect us to be, no, but seriously, no, but for reals, right? They expect fluff and needing to memorize things, but we're asking the deep questions and having real conversations about your lived experience. Anyway, so summer class is starting soon, very soon. But you can still sign up. There's still space. We limit the class sizes because the intimacy is important, but there's still space. Okay. Uh, so an example of knowing what you want, uh, I could sit and talk about foundations all afternoon. Uh, it's amazing. But uh, one way of manifesting what you want is envisioning a situation that you would love to be involved in, right? For example, uh, Morgana did this when she summoned me to Weirdbrook. She had a vision of a bunch of witches in the kitchen at Weirdbrook, laughing, making food, dancing to music, right? And so she used the feeling of that to summon me to Weirdbrook. She might not have known that at the time, but that's kind of what she did. Another thing that we're doing, I have a vision of a bunch of witches gathered around a fire pit out behind the barn watching the sunset, talking. I someone's playing on a guitar and other instruments and stuff. That's what I'm wanting that, right? So anything that isn't aligned with that, so like if an opportunity to fly to Germany this summer, I don't know, or uh, go do something else comes up, I know that that's not for me because I want this. I want that feeling, right? Do you see? So you're constantly choosing things that are aligned with what you're wanting. Okay, so you're always asking yourself this every month. Your practice is breathing, so it's um, your magical practice. And if you're practicing as a witch born of shadow, the new moon is your inhale. I want this. The full moon is your exhale. This isn't aligned with that. And it goes into your new moon. What is aligned with that? I want this. This isn't aligned, right? You're allowing your practice to your life to breathe. Okay. So your homework for the day with this reading is I can't imagine a reading that isn't more dialed in for, but what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Because you're not allowing yourself to chase any dreams that you've had, right? You're in resistance to or in denial of like wish fulfillment. You don't believe that that's gonna happen, right? And your, like, uh, intolerance for hope is what is keeping you from accessing or envisioning the reality that you're wanting to engage with. It's locking you into this other thing that isn't for you, that is creating suffering, all right? How do we feel about that? Heather, imagine want that isn't about taking. Exactly. All right. That's our reading for the day. Ta-da! So what I'm doing now is I'm going to be putting on my farm clothes, because right now what's happening is we are culling the roosters. We have 10 roosters that we have overwintered, and there's 2 different rooster gangs happening in the giant rooster coop that we have, and anyway, so it's time to cull the roosters, and that is a very sacred process here, and so I'm gonna gear up, go down, check in on everyone that's doing that, and then I am going to prepare for the belief release ceremony that our coven is doing today. And this is like a full moon ritual. We get together and do a, what we call a belief release. So we're going to do that, and then after the belief release, we are I don't know how much of this I can share virtually. So we're taking stuff from the process with the roosters and mixing it with water, and we're gonna be anointing all of the beds that we're gonna be growing our food in. It's a life-giving life process, closing circle, so that's all happening today. Yeah, I know. So, here we go. Let's close out this working. Hand on your heart. Take a deep breath. This working is now closing, but the magic has just begun. I humbly thank the elements and both the moon and sun. To all who chose to bless this flow, we now sincerely thank you. May our practice be expansive and our course be clear and true. All right, guys. I'm gonna go be a high priestess about it. I love when I share rituals or ceremonial work that I'm doing or spell crafting, and witches get up in the comments and they start pointing out the different layers of things like, ooh, that's this kind of magic, or oh, that's addressing this, or oh, that's this. I love that. I love it when you're able to see the layers without me having to actually say the layers, if you know what I mean. And most of the time, intuitively, you guys are right, even if you haven't necessarily practiced that. So, I would love to actually do a reverse engineer, like a spellcraft or ceremony live with you guys to be like, "All right, here's the ceremony. Let's pick it apart. Why each facet of this? Why is it written this way instead of that way?" 'Cause I think that's fun. That's my brain's idea of a good time. All right, until we meet again, if you can't be good at it. All right. Bye, guys.